What's going on, everyone? So, Ready or Not came out in 2019 and it grossed 57.6 million worldwide against a $6 million budget. So, it was a success. And we are in this like horror craze, particularly with sequels and requels and, classic horror films being remade or adding a new sequel to it. So, of course, we're getting a sequel for Ready or Not. Samara Weaving, who is the main character in Ready or Not. She plays Grace, announced that she is actually going to be back for another sequel. Now, I've said this for most of these sequels, requels, things like that. Not all movies really need a sequel, right? Like, if you've seen Ready or Not without getting into, like, spoilers or anything like that, just felt like a complete film. It felt like a film that, start to finish, kind of ran its course. Again, I enjoyed the film. Thought it was a really great film. I am a big fan of Samara Weaving. I like Samara Weaving as an actress and what she's done. Also, big Scream guy, right? And she was in Scream for one of the opening scenes. If you know, you know. But I'm. How are they going to add this sequel and have it make sense? Is it going to tie in? Is it going to be like a different story entirely? Are they going to continue with the sort of supernatural element? Again, trying not to spoil it for people that haven't seen it. Even though, it's been long enough, but still, like, it's just, it's this interesting take, this interesting story centered around, Grace getting married to what she believes is the man of her dreams, and this goes to this, luxurious estate and sees this family that, is basically hunting her, right? It's the classic, hide and seek style game, and she's got to end up trying to survive. And, the twist at the end and all that stuff was really interesting, right? And kind of gives you that, like, oh, it's all just nonsense, and then, oh no, it's not, right? Like, so clearly there's more. Could they add more to the story? Could they expand it in a way to where, maybe Grace is tracking down others that believe in this cult like element? Sure. Like, I don't know. We haven't had great success with most of these, like, sequels and legacy sequels and requels and stuff. And, you watch Ready or Not, and it's just, again, it's one of those films that not all films need that. Not all films have to have a sequel, and I understand, like, you're looking at horror numbers in today's time, and it's like, horror films are generating, 2, 3, 400 million, compared to, a really great horror movie would generate you 50 to 70 million, right? So, Ready or Not, probably looking at it as like, hey, this is a cheap film. We can make this for probably, another 6 million or whatever, and it could gross 100, 200 million. And it very well might, right? It may have a lot of success. It probably will bring in, quite a bit of money. But you also got to take into account, ticket prices and just inflation for things in general, right? Like, you look at the average ticket price then compared to now. Even in 2019, it was like, $9 average, I think, where now it's like $12, right? Like, that's a big difference. When you get 1 million people, there's another $3 million that you didn't get prior, right? But in general, right, like, at the end of the day, good storytelling, good execution, good delivery, good writing, good acting, can really go a long way, right? So, I will have an open mind about this, but we've seen things, even like, Exorcist Believer, like, it was a total disaster, right? So much so they ended up getting rid of everybody so that way they can continue and try to make this trilogy, right? Like, Halloween, like that trilogy, Halloween Kills, kind of split. People either seem to love it or hate it. I am in the camp of, like, I didn't really like it. I don't hate it, but I don't, like, it's not a film like Halloween Kills. I was just kind of like, all right. And then Halloween Ends, the consensus is, I know that there's people that like it, but the consensus is like that was just a really bad movie. Like they just kind of went in left field. David Gordon Green even said he wanted to do something different and just like got off the rails for what you established, right, in your two first films. And like that's always the concern when you're trying to push a film that, like, especially something like Ready or Not that was so just start to finish crisp, clean. Was it a perfect movie? No, but it was, for the most part, a complete film, in my opinion, that you basically flushed out. And it's like, now you're going to try to force the issue by adding another sequel. And look, if the sequel's great, then great. Like, I'm rooting for it. I would love to see it have some success. I'd love to see, Samara Weaving again. I really like her as an actress, especially in the horror space. I think she's done a really good job with the various films that she's done and the roles that she's had. And, I'd like to see this have success for her, and she now can pioneer that into other, films and horror films and things like that. But, like, there's also a big risk when you're doing these types of sequels, right? Like, I would almost rather, and I understand Samara Weaving is, like, the draw, right? Like, and she was just so great in Ready or Not, but I'd almost rather it be a different film with, like, a different family in a similar scenario, right? Like, I know that might seem a little repetitive, but I thought the story was fine. Like, you have this family that believes in this, supernatural force that can, that now they need to kind of allow somebody to go hide and have this, like, sacrifice. And now you are having this cat and mouse game. I think that that's just a really straightforward thing that you could essentially make several movies out of. And in my opinion, the creativity can come from just, the generalized story, pivoting in maybe different directions that the first one didn't do. Now, maybe that is the approach they go, and somehow Samara Weaving ties into that, right? We don't know. Is Samara Weaving the main focus in this film as Grace? That we don't know. Like, it's very, like, limited, because again, this just got announced. Like, and so to me, it's like, okay, if you do something like that, and Samara Weaving, being someone that has experience in dealing with this type of situation, maybe she comes to the aid or something, right? I think you could also do, if you're gonna do like a Samara Weaving focus film, maybe it's like an exploration film. Like, she becomes obsessed with kind of this force that she now is starting to seek it out, right? She's trying to find other families, trying to maybe even put a stop to it, right? Maybe put an end to it. Maybe she, and then that could, where you could have a setup for another, like, family in which they're doing this, and she just shows up because she's able to track them down and kind of be the hero and save the day. So you kind of have maybe two independent stories going off simultaneously, where you have, Samara Weaving's character Grace kind of trying to find all that she can and ends up coming to the aid, while you find a new, wife that's happy, and, she believes she found the man of her dreams, and now ends up going to the family, and boom, chaos ensues, right? And then Samara Weaving is the hero that comes in and saves the day, and she, fights for, the new wife, right? And you kind of have this, like, regime against, these various families that are tied to this dark force, right? Like, I think that could be kind of a way that you could approach this. But again, I don't want, if you're going to do this film and you're going to do this sequel, I just don't want them to ruin, a solid film, in my opinion, right? I don't want to see them, because you see it a lot. Like, you'll see sequels that come out and it's just like, well, that was pointless, or that was silly, or, man, that really kind of ruined elements of the first one, right? And you don't want to see that. Like, I don't want to see them try to force feed a sequel when we're not having a lot of success. I'm not saying that all the sequels that have came out have been bad, or all the legacy sequels and stuff like that, but the track record hasn't been super great for a lot of these things. And so, I don't want to see them kind of tarnish what was a successful film, right? Again, $6 million budget, and gross, I mean, what, 10 times what your budget was, nearly, right? Like, success. It's good. Did well. I mean, even after, theater cost and marketing and all that stuff, it still made a lot of money, right? And, I don't want to see this be like a blatant cash grab, right? Now, obviously, I mean, all films to an extent are cash grabs, right? I mean, every film is made to make money. That's why I don't really like, when people are like, oh, it's just cash grab. Well, yeah, every movie is a cash grab. But there's cash grabs like, hey, this is a good movie, right? Made a lot of money. It was made to make money, obviously. But then there's like the blatant cash grabs where it's like, this was just solely for the sake of just making as much money as possible and getting out. I don't want that to happen with, one, Samara Weaving as an actress, and two, for the Ready or Not films. Maybe this is their way to kind of lay a foundation for all kinds of spin-offs and stuff. Like, there's definitely things that you can do, definitely directions you can go, but I just hope it's really flushed out. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. Pass question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Are you excited for a sequel? Do you think like, it doesn't really need a sequel? You kind of split. However you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. Helps me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel. What are you doing? Hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one.